Hey everyone, let's face it, we are absolutely drowning in productivity advice these days.
Right.
It seems like everyone's got the secret sauce for maximizing your minutes.
Yeah, for sure. It's tough to figure out what actually works.
Totally. So today we're going to dive deep into some super practical time management hacks that come straight from, get this, an AI podcast.
An AI podcast giving productivity tips.
I know, right? It's kind of meta. But the stuff they talk about is really interesting, and we thought it'd be cool to share it with you all.
Sounds good.
Okay, so they basically break down 5 key hacks. The 2-minute rule, time blocking, batch working, having a daily priority list, and this one might surprise you, the importance of breaks.
I'm intrigued already.
Right, so let's start with that 2-minute rule. What's the deal with that?
Okay, so the 2-minute rule is all about, well, if you've got a task that you can do in 2 minutes or less, just do it right then and there.
Like right now.
Exactly. Don't put it on, don't add it to your to-do list, just knock it out.
So, if I have an email I need to respond to and it'll only take a minute or two, just do it instead of letting it sit in my inbox.
You got it. Or say you're done with dinner and there's a dish on the table.
Just put it in the dishwasher instead of leaving it for later.
Yep. Because here's the thing, those tiny tasks, they seem insignificant on their own, but they can really start to pile up and weigh on your mind,
They create this mental clutter, right?
Exactly. So by getting them out of the way immediately, you free up mental space, and you also get this little sense of accomplishment.
So it's not just about clearing your plate, but also about building some positive momentum.
You got it. It's like you did something, you checked it off, and now you're ready to tackle the next thing.
That's so smart. Okay, so that's the 2-minute rule. Now, what about this whole time blocking thing? I've heard about it, but I'm not really sure what it means in practice.
So time blocking is like this. It's about scheduling dedicated time slots for specific tasks, kind of like how we block out time for meetings in our calendars, right?
Yeah, I get that.
But instead of just reacting to requests, like someone wants to meet with you, you're proactively deciding, okay, from this time to this time, I'm going to work on this specific project.
So you're kind of taking control of your day instead of letting it control you.
Exactly. And the AI podcast even gave a specific example, which I thought was helpful. They talked about blocking out, let's say, from 9 to 10:30 a.m. every day for what they call deep work.
Oh, I like that. Deep work.
Right. And the idea is that during that time, you're laser focused on that one important task. No distractions, no email, no social media, just pure concentration.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that when we're constantly switching between tasks, it takes way longer to get things done.
For sure. Our brains just aren't wired for multitasking.
Okay, time blocking, I'm getting it. But what happens when, life happens? What if something unexpected comes up and throws off your whole schedule?
That's a great question because, let's be real, life is unpredictable. So you got to be flexible, right? Sometimes you got to adjust your time blocks on the fly. Some people, they do thematic time blocking where they group similar activities together. Okay, Tuesday afternoons are for admin tasks, while others prefer to be very task specific, from 10:00 to 11:00, I'm writing that report and that's it. It really depends on your workflow and honestly your personality too.
That's a really good point about finding what works for you, because we all have different styles. Okay, I'm digging time blocking. So how does this batch working thing fit in? I feel like it's got to be connected somehow.
Oh, absolutely. They go hand in hand. Batching is basically taking time blocking and applying it to specific types of tasks.
Okay.
Let's say you get a ton of emails throughout the day.
Don't I know it?
Instead of stopping what you're doing every time a new message pops up, you dedicate, say, an hour in the afternoon to go through all your emails at once.
That sounds so much more efficient.
Right. And it works for all sorts of things, not just email. You can batch your phone calls, your social media posts, your errands, whatever makes sense for you.
So it's all about staying in that zone for that particular task.
Yeah. Instead of constantly switching gears, you're staying in, say, your email zone and knocking everything out in one go.
I love it. Okay, I'm seeing how all these techniques are kind of building on each other. You start with the 2-minute rule for those quick wins, then you create a structured schedule with time blocking, and then you use batching to really optimize your workflow within those time blocks.
Exactly. It's like a system,
Absolutely. Now, on to the daily priority list. Tell me about that.
This is a big one. It's all about, being really intentional with your time. At the beginning of each day, you identify the 3 most important tasks that you absolutely need to get done that day.
Just 3, not 5, not 10.
3. And here's why. Remember the Pareto principle, that whole 80-20 rule? Well, it applies here too. Often, 80% of our results come from just 20% of our efforts.
Right. So if we can focus on those key tasks, those high-impact activities, then
You're making the biggest difference, yeah. And by limiting yourself to just 3, it makes it feel less overwhelming.
it's about quality over quantity, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really curious about this last one, the importance of breaks. It seems kind of counterintuitive, right? Like, if you're trying to be productive, shouldn't you be working more, not less?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But actually, taking breaks is crucial for both your productivity and your well-being. When you push yourself too hard without any breaks, you're just going to burn out.
I feel that.
And when you're burned out, you're not doing your best work anyway. You're making mistakes, you're getting frustrated, you're just not as sharp.
So how often should we be taking breaks? And what should we be doing during those breaks?
Well, there's this really popular method called the Pomodoro technique. Have you heard of it?
I have, yeah.
So it's basically working in 25-minute intervals with a 5-minute break in between.
Okay, I see.
And during those breaks, you want to do something that helps you detach from work and recharge. Like get up and stretch, take a walk outside, listen to some music, meditate, whatever helps you relax and clear your head.
I like that. But doesn't breaking up your flow like that make it harder to get back into the groove?
You might think so, but research actually shows that these short bursts of rest can actually enhance your focus and creativity.
Really?
Yeah. During breaks, your brain gets a chance to process information, consolidate memories, and come up with new ideas. It's like hitting the reset button so you can come back to your work with renewed energy and a fresh perspective.
That's so interesting. So breaks aren't just about giving your mind a rest. They're actually about making you more productive in the long run.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We talked about the 2-minute rule for knocking out those quick tasks, time blocking for creating a structured schedule, batch working for maximizing efficiency, having a daily priority list to stay focused on what really matters, and the surprising power of breaks for actually boosting your productivity.
And the key takeaway here is that it's not about trying to do everything at once or squeezing every last second out of your day.
Right.
It's about working smarter, not harder. It's about being intentional with your time and finding what works best for you.
Exactly. So what's your challenge for our listeners today?
I'd say pick one of these hacks that really resonated with you and give it a try tomorrow. See how it impacts your day, how it makes you feel. You might be surprised at how much of a difference even a small change can make.
I love that. And remember, it's all about finding that sweet spot between structure and flexibility and adapting these techniques to your own work style and personality. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into time management, and we'll catch you next time.